I'm going to show you exactly how I tricked a bank into lending me over $382,000 on a cash-only fixer-upper. Let's get right into that story because it's actually a trick you might be able to take advantage of as well to make sure you can increase your profit when you do real estate deals and get those sweet, sweet conventional loans, which we'll talk about as well. My guess is you've probably heard about foreclosure deals before. There are a few main types of foreclosure deals, and we're not gonna go through everything here, but generally we can walk away knowing that foreclosures, auctions, short sales, or REO, or real estate owned deals, they tend to be pretty good deals because the banks or whoever's selling them tend to sell them for less than market value because they're trying to get these properties off the books. So here's the scoop. When a really good deal hits the market, there tends to be a lot of attention on that property. The problem is, sometimes these properties are such good deals, but because they need so much work, no bank is willing to finance on that deal. So the listing agents go into it knowing, we don't want to deal with appraisers, we don't want to deal with banks, we'll just list the property as only being available to cash buyers. Unfortunately for this deal, I didn't have another $382,000 sitting around. I really needed a bank to give me the $382,000. So I did what any pro real estate investor does. You get creative and you make it work. Now, first things first, you can't go into any deal with a generic strategy. Every single deal needs a specified plan to make sure you can maximize your odds of getting the deal and getting the best price possible. So this particular property is a single family house in Ventura County, California. And the property itself was built in 2003. So I was very comfortable with the newness of the property. I'm not so worried about earthquake issues. I know it's got copper plumbing. I know it's got a good roof. I know it has an updated electrical system. And you know what? It's got insulation in the walls and the foundation's good. I know that solely because of the age of the property. So I'm going into a deal that's already pretty good. Like, how bad could something like this get? Well, that's where I may have started speculating a little too soon. Well, unfortunately, the occupants of this house didn't know that the rubber hoses they were using for the hot and cold water line on their washing machine are a pretty massive liability. In fact, pretty much every time you go buy a new washer these days, they force you to buy the metal braided hose connector kits, mostly because the metal braided ones are much less likely to burst. They could still burst, but usually you start seeing wear and tear and damage way before, and they last way longer. So anyway, sure enough, they went on vacation, didn't realize that at the same time, the water pressure regulator for the house, which minimizes the water pressure coming into the house, had failed, which increased the load on the rubber hoses, or the pressure on the rubber hoses, and while they were gone, well, the interesting thing about washers is most people, when they go on vacation, they don't actually close the valve for their washing machine, mostly because they typically forget to turn it back on when they go to do a washing load, and then they get really frustrated that their clothing didn't get washed. It just got full of soap and sloshed around in soap because there was no water. So in other words, this hose caused such a burst and explosion of water that the occupants had no idea what was happening until a neighbor called and said, hey, probably not normal, but you've got water coming out of your front door, your garage, your side door, and your back door. Your house might be flooding. So fast forward to the aftermath. This property had to have all of its flooring upstairs removed. The carpet was gone, the drywall had to be removed, the downstairs kitchen had to have portions of it removed, everything within the bottom of 2 feet of the property had to be removed, and the furnace was broken on the property. Not sure if that was related, but a lot of things were now wrong with the property. Fortunately, the owners called a restoration company to come in pretty quickly to try to minimize the odds of any kind of mildew or mold, which was a really good thing, but then they didn't pay the restoration company the $12,500 they were owed. Well, now fast forward to me getting involved. The house is listed as a short sale, cash only, having had water damage, and not only do you have to buy the place with your own financing for the price you pay, but they want you to pay the $12,500 to the restoration company that's outstanding. So you need even more cash to come up with. Well, here's exactly, step by step, how I tackled getting this deal with a 25% down conventional loan. Which, in case you don't know, conventional loans are really awesome because you could get those 30-year fixed rate loans or 15-year fixed rate loans, and pretty much, I mean, read your contract, but pretty much as long as you make the payment, you don't get foreclosed on, which is cool. The bank can't call you up and go, oh, market values went down, time to bring in some more money because you've been short selling Tesla and now you're upside down. They can't do that on houses. You're a lot more protected on conventional loans. So anyway, the deal had gone in and out of escrow multiple times with different cash buyers who were trying to grind the seller down because of the water damage and try to get the house for an even more discounted price. Mind you, this was a short sale, so it was already selling for $510,000 in a neighborhood where everything, the same floor plan even, was selling for $650,000 plus. It was a no-brainer deal. So here I am trying to get the deal without cash. And here's how I solve the problem. I spoke with the listing agent and suggested, give me a chance on this deal. I'm going to go ahead and write you an offer, 25% down with no appraisal contingency. That's always the concern, right? The appraiser comes in and rates the property a condition that's unacceptable. A quick note, there are 6 types of conditions, 1 through 6. Number 1 is like new construction, and then it goes down to, really great and over improved, to average, to deferred maintenance, to has health and safety issues, probably don't do a loan on, to C6, which is do not lend on. Well, I write this offer with no appraisal contingency and a special term as part of the contract to get the deal, which is a similar psychology to how I teach you how to invest in the real estate investing course. It's a similar kind of psychology that I use in the do-it-yourself property management course and the rental renovations course coming out January 15th. Price goes up that day, by the way, so you may as well use that coupon code down below since you're a loyal audience member here. Oh, and by the way, huge shout out to Charles from my real estate courses who actually wrote a Facebook message to his friend Derek, now recommends my course as a really awesome course on real estate investing and renovation for quite cheap. For price/quality, much, much better than most I've seen. So thank you very much, Charles. And thank you so much for being an active member in Discord as well. The special term I wrote in was, if buyer's lender or appraiser requires any repairs as a condition of this loan closing, seller authorizes buyer to complete any required repairs on the property and hold the seller harmless of any liability. If the sale does not go through for any reason, seller will keep all repairs made at no cost to seller, and buyer agrees to lose the money they invested fixing the property up. Yeah, so I basically said, whatever the appraiser wants me to do, I will pay to fix, and I will fix up a property that I don't even own. Now, this almost blew up in my face because here's what happened. We went into the deal, my lender's processing the loan, they ordered the appraisal, and they didn't let me know that they ordered the appraiser. This was like an online lender whom I don't do business with anymore, and they kind of didn't communicate super well. So basically, they sent out the appraiser, and the appraiser goes and looks at the property and tells the bank, this is a C6, this deal is dead. And the lender's assistant sends me a 2-line email, goes, hey, bad news, we got the appraisal, we have to cancel the loan, this isn't going to happen. Well, that made me really sad because here I was in escrow on a $510,000 property I thought needed like $30,000 worth of work, AKA I would have been all in for like $540,000 to $550,000 because of that extra $10,000 to $12,000 I had to pay for those restoration people, which I did negotiate that down too, by the way. Negotiate everything, okay? But I really wanted that $100,000 of wedge or extra net worth that I would be getting tax-free thanks to buying this below market value deal and dealing with the problems. So let's just say that was like a $100,000 losing email. It was a big bummer, but I don't just give up. But I think you know that about me. See, if somebody, for example, were to ever sue me, I'm the kind of guy that goes, we'll see you in court. I don't like rolling over. Anyway, here's exactly what I did on this particular deal. I called the appraiser and I asked the appraiser, what would it take to get this property to a C4 condition? In other words, one that's financeable. And the appraiser said, well, I mean, Kevin, there's obviously been water damage, there's no carpet, I can't get the furnace to turn on, and there's drywall missing, and there's damage in the kitchen. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, all right, I can handle all those things because I'm gonna handle those things anyway after I buy it, before I rent it out, right? It's like, I'm gonna do the work anyway, right? So I asked the appraiser, I said, hey, would you mind if I emailed you something to the effect of, if this property has new drywall in the places it's missing, a working furnace and new flooring, and the damage in the kitchen repaired, it will qualify for a C4 condition. And the appraiser said, yeah, sure, I'll respond to that. Cool. So I sent her that email. She responded to that. I told the lender to put everything on hold. I sent in my drywall guy, my HVAC guy, and my painter to touch the things up, and a couple other people to fix the little moldings missing in the kitchen and things like that. I mean, these were very simple handyman type repairs, basic. Then called up the appraiser and said, hey, we're ready for a reinspection. Now, this is where a lot of buyers will go, oh no, an appraisal reinspection, it's gonna cost us $150 to reinspect the property, oh no. Dude, who cares? You're about to make $100 grand on this deal. And because I'm an agent, which in case you didn't know, I got a course for real estate agents as well. Because I'm an agent, I was also getting paid on the deal. I was getting a 3% commission. So another $15,000. So it was really 100 grand wedge plus 15 grand. So you better believe I'm not gonna be whining about a $150 reinspect fee. Appraiser goes back out and says, hey, this looks good to us. You're good to go. Called up the bank and said, hey, appraiser says we're good now. Boom. Cash-only property that got denied financing just got approved for a loan with 25% down because I spent $2,500 on a new furnace, $1,000 on some cheap remnant carpet just to qualify, and about $2,000 on drywall work. That's how you solve problems in real estate, folks, and that's exactly why you gotta be a member of my real estate related courses and my finance courses to learn a perspective of psychology and deal making you haven't seen anywhere else. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.